Welcome to Heart, a video series featuring candid testimonials by patients of Dr. Gary Jones of Louisiana Cardiovascular and Thoracic Institute.
Oh, man, what an opportunity. What a privilege. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. I have my best and my worst day were the same day. That was June the 8th, 2004. And it was the toughest day. I say worst, it was the toughest day I ever had because that was the day that I had a double bypass surgery. I had a 99% blockage in what they call the LAD, which they also say is the Widowmaker. And so it didn't make a widow out of my wife, and I'm proud of that. But it was a 99% blockage. I found out about it because of shortness of breath. I didn't have any bad chest pains. I didn't have any pressure. But I had a shortness of breath that is hard to explain or to believe. I had just got through building a house, and so I wanted to get back to jogging. I've jogged my whole life. And so I wanted to get back to jogging, and every day I'd get out to jog, I couldn't get nowhere. I just didn't have enough breath to run. So get this, on the 19th day, which either makes me very stubborn or very stupid, on the 19th day, I decided I'm going to sprint down to that bridge. It was about a quarter of a mile from my house. I got about 100 yards, and that was it. I bent over. My breath was gone. I couldn't catch any wind, any breath whatsoever. And I bent over to get my breath back. Finally got to where I could breathe a little bit, and it dawned on me, oh, my word, son, what's wrong with you? I realized in that moment, you either got heart disease or some disease has come along and ruined your lungs. You have no capacity to breathe. So I almost crawled back home. I walked as slow as I could, got back to the house, got ready to come back to town to see my GP, Dr. Cox. And when I walked into his office, I said, Dr. Cox, something's bad wrong. He said, what in the world? I said, I can't breathe. And I said, I've either got heart disease or I've got lung disease. Something's bad wrong. He ordered a nuclear stress test. I took that the next day, came to his office the following day to get the report. He did something that I can tell you about. If you ever have a doctor come around to your side of the desk, run, because they fixing to tell you something terrible. And so he came around to my side of the desk, and he put his hand on my leg, and he said, Steve, you know you got problems, right? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, you're right. You have some heart disease, and you're probably going to need bypass surgery. After he let me compose myself, he asked me a question that would be normal for anybody. This was in Bastrop, Louisiana, north of here. And he says to me, he said, well, are you going to stay here in Monroe? Are you going to go to Little Rock? Are you going to go to Houston? And I said, none of the above. He said, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to go to Alexandria. He said, why are you going to Alexandria? I said, I'm going there. That's where my doctor is. Who's your doctor? Dr. Gary Jones. And I've never told Dr. Gary why he was my doctor. I don't guess he needed a reason, but the reason Dr. Gary Jones is my doctor is for two very important reasons. One, I knew for a fact that even though he had enough swagger to give a patient confidence, he also has the humility to refer you if he needs to. The second thing is even more important. I saw Dr. Jones spend a whole night with a patient in ICU. And when you think, well, that was good of him, he must have been able to do something about the outcome. He must have been worried that he needed to do something to help this guy. No, that's not it at all. That patient didn't have any hope. And Gary wasn't there to help the outcome. He was there because he cared. He was there because he was compassionate. I never got over that. I've never seen it since, never seen it before. I don't know that he's able 20 years later to do stuff like that. We all got to get rest. But what an amazing thing that was to see. So I got my bypass surgery on June the 8th, 2004. I had a normal recovery. I got home. The first day I knew I needed to exercise. He told me that. I was anxious to get back to it. The first day I walked to the mailbox, which was about 100 yards. The next day I walked a little further. The next day a little further. I worked my way up to 4 miles. Then I started jogging. Then I started climbing stairs. And so here I am 21 years later. And you say, well, what's the outcome? Where are you at now? Well, For one, I started a church with 8 people 19 years ago, 2 years after my surgery. Today it has 2,020 members. And of those 2,020, 963 have come to faith in Christ. And so I've had a wonderful time doing that. Also, my health, as far as my blood work was just done, and my cholesterol is 106. My triglycerides are 75. My LDL is 56. And so those of you who know those numbers, you know they're pretty good. And also, I jog 2 miles a day, or I climb 65 flights of stairs here at the hospital. It's cheap, it's free, it's safe, and it's climate control. I think I'm pretty smart on that. And I can't tell you how many stairs I've climbed in my life. It's about 5K season. 5K races start in October. Last year I did 5. This year I want to do 10. Don't ask about my times. That's none your business. I'm slow as Christmas. But I will tell you this. I'm the fastest 65-year-old heart patient out there. And I often place second or third. I've never won a race. There's one guy that always does that. And so it is a wonderful time. And each time when they start the race, I always tell myself this phrase that I picked up somewhere along the way. And that's this right here. I'm not always there's going to come a day when I'm not going to be able to do this. But that day is not today. And so I'm so blessed. And I'm not going to say, I told you it was my toughest day and my best day. It was my best day because it was the day that I got my focus and I became more intentional. And I have lived life with focus and purpose ever since. I'm grateful for the moments, even Friday nights when I go out with my wife. I always think during the previews of whatever chick flick's on that week, I always think, wow, I'm blessed to be here. Blessed to see my grandkids do good things in life. Blessed to enjoy life. I'll close with this, tell you one more thing. Whenever I come to the hospital as a pastor, I visit a lot. And I wind up in ICU here at Cabrini a lot. And whenever I'm there, I always stop by my old room, which is bed number 1. I always poke my head in the door, and if it feels appropriate, I always say, hey, you in my bed. And when they look at me funny, I tell them 21 years ago, that was my bed. And I've done my best living since then. And if you'll be intentional, you can do that too. God saved you, He's rescued you, and you're going to do fine. Try not to worry about what you're going through right now. It's only for a season. And so just from the bottom of my heart, Dr. Jones, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.